When you were discarded by your avoidant ex, did they tell you that they were really just wanting an easy relationship? Easy relationships are something that avoidants, especially severe ones, are often in search of. But this easy relationship that they look for doesn't actually exist. An easy relationship in the mind of the avoidant is a relationship that takes no work, no effort, and has no disagreement or conflict whatsoever. This is because the avoidant was emotionally neglected as a child, and their feelings were routinely dismissed. If they expressed their emotions as a kid, they were shot down, dismissed, possibly even punished or reprimanded. So what they learned is emotional expression leads to rejection, it leads to abandonment. And they also learned that emotional closeness leads to abandonment as well. Because if you rely on anyone for your emotional needs, they're going to reject you. They're going to abandon you. So the smallest disagreement in a relationship seems insurmountable in the eyes of an avoidant, because that conflict is something they fear so greatly. And it can shock a partner of an avoidant. The first time you have a disagreement in the relationship, the avoidant shuts down and completely exits the relationship, saying it just won't work. In the avoidant's mind, they want a relationship where there's never any disagreement, but they also want a relationship without the threat of emotional intimacy. When emotional intimacy builds, it triggers avoidant fears, the subconscious fear that they have of abandonment. They've learned to associate closeness with abandonment. That's why it's one of their top triggers. In a relationship where the avoidant has to open up, where they have to be vulnerable, that feels like work. They're being pressured to give something of themselves, both emotionally and physically. They're being pressured to be something for their partner. And that feels like very hard work. And that is not easy in the mind of somebody who is completely emotionally unavailable. So if you are seeking a healthy relationship with closeness, the avoidant will find that to not be an easy relationship. The closest thing that an avoidant will ever find to this easy relationship is when they get into a relationship with somebody else who is also severely avoidant. There's no conflict because they're never expressing their feelings to each other, and there's no emotional intimacy. However, even though these relationships can actually go on quite some time, the avoidant will find it unfulfilling. And then those relationships will eventually come to their natural conclusion because of the lack of intimacy. Deep down, they long for connection and they long for closeness, but when they get it, it triggers their fears. So they end the avoidant relationship to find something more fulfilling, but then when they get it, it feels like work. It's not easy. It triggers all their fears, and they can shut down and discard a partner that's actually showing them the things that they claim to be seeking. This cycle can continue and continue and continue until the avoidant actually commits to doing some real work on themselves. This should include therapy with a licensed psychotherapist, a commitment to a change in behaviors. It can be a lot of work, but it definitely can be done. They can actually learn to heal and become secure, but they have to want it. And until they do the work, which includes difficult self-reflection, they will be always hunting this easy relationship that is fulfilling. But that relationship doesn't actually exist. The easy relationships are unfulfilling because there's no real emotional connection. And the relationships with an emotional connection, well, that's just too much work. So the avoidant puts themselves in a position where they can never find what they are looking for. So if they shut down and told you that the relationship was too much work and they're just looking for an easy relationship, that's not a reflection of you. It's not a reflection of anything you did wrong, as long as you were kind and treated them with love. It's a reflection of their own emotional unavailability and their inability to handle and navigate healthy relationships. Don't beat yourself up for it, because if you're blaming yourself, you're pushing yourself further into anxiety, further into insecurity, and further into anxiousness. Have some self-compassion and recognize that the avoidant just is not at a point in their lives where they know how to do a healthy relationship.